That's awesome. Is this Dark Souls?
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings. Okay, right. Absolutely. Very Dark Souls fun. Right. This is awesome. Can you stay for the panel? We can just talk about how you make the how you make this. It's really wonderful. Yeah.
Thank you.
And I love the still walking as well. Yeah. It adds that extra bit of oomph and dimension to it. Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you for stopping by. This is quite a treat for me. All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Whitten, and I guess we're going to kick this off right now. I'll try to switch positions, stand up, so that everyone can see me no matter where you're sitting. Check, test. Seems like maybe I duck out from time to time, so apologies about that. How's everyone doing? Awesome, thanks. Yeah, this is glad to be in Pigeon Forge with like sunny weather. Although I don't know, I'm a big fan of Christmas, so I would also love a little bit of snow. But all the cheer and the vibe is super cool. I think I'm just running this show right now for this panel. But honestly, I want to make this kind of about whatever y'all want to know. So I think jumping right into questions and then just seeing where the conversation goes from there sounds like a good thing to me. So if anyone has a burning question on their mind that you want to ask to get this kicked off, don't be shy. Raise your hands. Yes, baby in the back. Baby in the back. What's your question? Goo goo gaga? Well, yeah. Goo goo gaga. High five. High 10. Is this a first convention for? Okay, I would hope so. But welcome. It's great, and I'm glad that it's here for the panel too. So that's pretty cool. So y'all, anyone Demon Slayer fans? I'm assuming. Okay, we got some Demon Slayer fans. That's good. I'm in that show. Who do I voice? Just a couple incidentals here and there. Yeah, they come together. A couple people that get killed off. Sorry. As you can see, I like to keep it lighthearted. I'll try to defer from spoilers, although that lasted all of about, what, 2 minutes? Sorry. But honestly, I will try not to spoil and talk around different issues for folks. But yeah, Demon Slayer was obviously, it's very fun. Who's excited for the second season? Yes. Yeah, me too. I'm very excited. And we're in recording now too, so that's been kind of fun. So I'm glad to be able to say that it is coming soon. I mean, it's already out, right, on Funimation and some of the apps, so you get to see it. But yeah, definitely looking forward to that story continuing. Anyone got any favorite characters? You don't have to say Goku. Who's your favorite Hashira? Oh shoot, I shouldn't have asked. Who's your favorite not Hashira? Huh? Inosuke, yes! Bryce, come in for your panel. If he just walked through the door, that'd be awesome. Yeah, no, Inosuke is a force of nature, and Bryce is as well, and he's super cool. I'm so glad to, actually, this is my first con being with Bryce at a con adjacent. He's actually the guy that got me into doing cons, which I just started doing, so I'm so happy to see all your lovely faces, but you can say thank you to Bryce, because he's the one that told me to just get off my butt and like come to places and meet folks and check out stuff like this cool show. Yeah, I love Inosuke. I'm a big Tanjiro fan, actually. I know that it maybe sounds so super obvious, but I love Tanjiro. I love how like pure of heart he is. And oh my God, okay. Guess I'm not allowed to walk. I was just gonna have a stroll, but the big bad speaker doesn't want me to. So I'll stroll over this way to get an angle on some folks, but I've got cord salad down here. But seriously, if anyone's got questions, feel free to pop up your hand. Yes?
Did you choose to audition for Goku, or was it recommended to you?
I did not choose, because I barely, we don't really get to choose what to audition for, as far as the business goes. Mostly the auditions that come in are things that our agents or casting directors that we have personal relationships with are filtering our way. And so I always feel lucky when I get to audition for cool parts like Goku. But I can't, we have limited sway in how much we can say, hey, I want to audition for that part. It really depends on, like, when you're in the business of voice acting or acting in general, on personal relationships. But as far as Demon Slayer goes, I did audition for a number of Hashira. Oh god, Shina? Wait, is that, no, I can't. Sometimes I can't remember, like, names. Kaiji's part. Is that Shinazugawa? Am I crazy? Now I'm going to, like, oh, like, who did I audition for? Anyways, point is that I auditioned for a lot. I got, like, I think I auditioned for 4 different Hashira when it came around. I actually auditioned for Zenitsu. If it's true. But Alex Lee is fantastic and knocks it out of the park. So, I mean, whenever these auditions come through, I always feel like very excited to jump in on roles and try to get my spin for it. When it came down to Rengoku, it just happened that it connected with that one, and I always feel very lucky when I connect with any particular role. I feel like I got super lucky with Rengoku because I adore the part. And I know that y'all are big fans too, and I'm sure that hearing how much of an impact Mugen Train in particular had on folks has just, it's really, am I doing something wrong here?
No, it happened last panel too.
It did? Is this one better? Check. I'm gonna try this one for a little bit. Maybe it doesn't hate me so much. Yeah, I feel hearing the response from all the fans and folks and how it like impacted them is something that you don't always get to experience with every role that you do. And so I feel really lucky to have experienced it and been a part of it with a role like Rengoku. Because I just think it's really cool, and especially with, you know, whatever everyone's been going through for the past 2 years, and then this movie came along, and I think it really, I don't know how y'all feel about it, but I see a lot of nodding heads, right? It like, go watch it. It'll help, especially with whatever you're going through, it'll help. Or maybe not, it'll put you into that, it's emotional, so, but especially at this time, I don't know, I just, yeah, feel really grateful to have been a part of it, so, but thanks for that. If I could then somehow hone into things and then decide to audition for things here and there, believe me, I would. In the meantime, I just try to, you know, go in, do a good job, be a good person to work with, hopefully, and, you know, hopefully get asked back. So yeah. Anyone else got some questions? Biz, shows, life, dogs, cats, whatever you want to talk about, favorite foods? Yes?
What was the kind of thought process you went through when doing Droll, and then Flutter, and then doing Rengoku? What was your different thought processes?
Oh, gosh. All right. Bouncing around to a lot of different parts. In order of how I actually booked them and recorded them, Flutter was the first in that line, and Flutter was one of the first things that I did in anime. So I've been in the business for maybe about, like, I don't know, like 7 years now, but I've been acting my whole life. I started out in theater, and so a lot of, like, as far as talking about thought processes for any specific roles, a lot of the prep work, I feel like, for any actor is all the training that you've done in your life. There's so many different things you pull upon, and it's not just your training, but it's like life experience. I can't tell you how many people I've run into who, like casting directors, who have been like, hey, like, what do I do to be better at this? And they're like, go get a hobby, go get a life. I'm like, but I want to act. You know, like, have some dimension, you know, have some interests. And so having those, it really helps to bring kind of nuance to characters you play. Flutter, starting off with him, he's kind of a little, he has a little bit of that maniacal mastermind quality to him. God, my thought process for him was just kind of really honing into that sort of dragonfly buzz. Like, it's kind of like that animalistic picture and trying to, it's a very like, does anyone do theater? Is anyone a theater kid? Okay, we got some theater kids here. So when I say like rolling around in a black box room and doing like theater games, it's very esoteric in a way. It's like make sure, walk around and act like a chicken for a while, and people are like, how is this useful? Trust me, it's useful. Doing weird stuff like that kind of opens you up into ways to approach characters. And so when you see this giant dragonfly man, who is conniving, it gives you a sense of like how to infuse that voice with a bit of a sort of a buzzing nasal quality, but also to know that he is clearly carrying out some plans. He has a bit of a more of a calculating mind. And so kind of allowing that to creep into your body and kind of quicken your pace, and kind of going into that analytical vibe and his hive mind control. This is all very, very vague. But it's all to say is that, like, once I get into the room, it's kind of more, I have an idea of what the character is going to be going through, and you try to ask your questions beforehand, and then when you're in the room, you just try to be present and doing the thing. With Droll, I usually don't do big, deep voices. I have kind of like a higher voice, a pingier voice, a brighter voice. So sinking into Droll, like kind of like sinking that voice down was a challenge, to try and like loosen the apparatus, loosen my whole body up, and get into that sort of like weird, calm, godlike state. But I love also asking those questions. How does a giant, multi-armed god think? What concerns this sort of entity? But then you come to a part like Rengoku, and it's a little bit easier to grasp in a way. There's a bit more there. And like asking questions about Rengoku, which come up in Mugen Train, they get into his family, and you see things that like matter to certain characters, which is like he's a son, and he is a big brother, and those are things that like we can draw on our own experiences with, and especially when it got to that sort of place. For anyone who's seen the movie, he goes back into this sort of dream state, and he's, his father is there, and his father is, that relationship has changed. And it just, like, someone who's on the floor, kind of done with life, his back turned to his son, who really looks up to him, like really kind of asking those questions of like, why does he feel the need to impress his father, and yet he still looks up to his father, and what does it feel like that his father doesn't care, and he has to grapple with that and try to push through it. And I think we all come across those situations in life of like trying to impress someone, or trying to do the right thing and having someone else really not care what you do, and having to do the right thing anyways, because that's a part of your being. And so with Rengoku, it was kind of nice. When we meet him in the series, we don't know a lot of that, and I think that one of the reasons the movie lands a lot more, or really deepens that relationship, is that we start to see those things that are familiar to us. Like making a promise to his mother to do the best that he can, and carrying that through no matter what, because it's a part of his character, and he's strong enough to do it. And playing when you're in the studio, and then like going through a fight scene where he's on the edge of breaking, those are like the juiciest moments, I feel like, as an actor, is playing with that moment where he's like, do I give up on who I am, or do I double down and follow through? despite the consequences. And playing those moments are, I don't know, fantastic. I'm sorry I'm waxing about this particular moment a lot, but I find it to be really wonderful. And one of the most satisfying parts of the job, too. Like, especially also when you're in very emotional scenes. Like, say there's a scene where you're someone who's being brought to tears or maybe to a really frenetic moment. As an actor, it's wonderful to have that emotion inhabit you and then fight against it. It's like keeping the lid on something. And I think that we all identify with that sort of struggle. Like, this is emotional, but like that vulnerability is also hard to get into, and it's much more interesting when you see someone grappling with that vulnerability. And I think that we get a lot of that in Mugen Train, and so it's so well written. and it's just like, that's the sort of stuff that is fun to play. That's the sort of stuff that's fun for us to watch. And it really just like cuts right to our hearts. So I think I got a little bit off track with your question. But in other words, especially when approaching Rengoku, and like that was a few years down, so I learned a lot more about about voicing parts, and so I think I was a little bit better equipped to then approach that role in particular. I knew what to ask. I knew what to kind of keep in my head and my heart as I went in there, and just tried to live those moments as honestly as I could. So thanks for that. And are there any other questions that came off of that have been burning in your mind? I see you with the mask back there.
When you're approaching a new character, you know there's going to be emotional range. Like, how do you approach a new character if you're trying to figure out how to go kind of highs and lows, and they're trying to go a little bit levity and kind of deeper emotion?
Like how to find out what that emotional range is? Like how flustered does someone get, or how angered does someone get, like something like that?
How do you figure that?
Mostly I look for clues in like the text and in the breakdowns and in the story. It really depends from project to project with how much material we get. And sometimes we don't get a lot. So if we don't get a lot of material, it really kind of comes down to trusting our directors. But I go to the script first, what the writers intended, and I try to look at how I create as much as I can. I make a couple of audio drama podcasts, so as a creator and storyteller on a whole, I like to see how characters functionally work within any given story. And so starting with the text is a great place because you can see what is this character's intention within the story, and then you can ask specifically of that character, what do they want, what are their circumstances, what are their obstacles, what gets in their way. Ask a lot of questions. And then try it out as much as you can in rehearsal. We don't always get a lot of rehearsal in voiceover. It's very much hit the ground running. It's not like theater. Which was another big thing I did not know. I started out a big voiceover job doing Home Adventures with Tip and O on Netflix, which is based off of the DreamWorks film. And I went in and I was like, this is a big old show. This is a full-on series. I'm playing the main character. And as we jumped in, I was like, are we gonna have like a table read or something? They're like, nope, you are off and running. Scene 1, Episode 1, let's do it. And I'm like, okay, I guess that this kind of speaks to the idea of like a lot of the emotional work you do beforehand, and kind of knowing how to be emotional happens when you train in like theater school and whatnot. And so doing like emotion exercises with knowing how to just play. I went to school. I talk a lot and I get very tangential, but trust me, this has to do with emotional range. I would do some improv acting, as Viola Spolin was the teacher, but Stephen Book, anyways, these names are regardless. the point is that you're playing emotional arcs, and we would just improvise emotional arcs. And we would start off with like, we'd play an anger arc, and the point was to train yourself to go from the least amount, the smallest iota of anger, maybe it's just like frustration, or maybe it's just being perturbed, maybe it's merely a flick of an eyebrow, into just blasting through the ceiling, howling mad anger, and playing an arc, improvising for like 30 minutes, and going through an arc and coming back down, and training yourself how to feel that, how to be that, from the very barest and imperceptible bits of frustration to like galaxy-destroying rage. And back again. And the funny thing about doing acting training like that is that you realize where your ceilings are, where your barriers are. And then you also find out how you can punch through them. And there's always something new to discover. So when it comes to like sculpting a character out though, taking all that training and then finding out really what that character, kind of what that character's core beliefs are and what that character wants in that moment, you can tell how hot you need to go with it, in a way. And you also don't want to, I mean, it depends. A lot of this it comes down to like subjective choice and a collaboration with your creative team. Because I can go in there and I can start spitting fury out, and the director is like, I see where you're going. Let's dial that back. And so you can sort of fine-tune your character with the team as well. And it's a great process too. I bring my choices to the table, and someone else tells me that those choices are terrible, Mark, do it better. No. But you know, it's the sort of thing. As an actor, I make my best guess, and I based on the information that I have in front of me, and based on my training, and I come in with a lot of strong choices, and I leave myself open to having those choices changed, and then go from there. So, yeah. Who has the next question for me to talk for 15 minutes about? Right, okay, Tsakai.
So, to go tangential
Sure.
off that, when there are projects either that you are working on professionally or you're just consuming as a fan, anime, video games, movies, books, what do you find are the story themes and the type of hero journeys that you get the most invested in?
Ooh. That's a good question. I like a couple of things. I like characters that have a dual nature to them. I like kind of Jekyll and Hyde-ish sort of characters. I definitely get invested in those. I love playing those kind of characters that have like characters that have big secrets or something that's or double natures to them. Let's see, what are some others that I get? Like, gosh, I was just watching the live-action Cowboy Bebop, which I don't want to make any enemies here, but I'm gonna make enemies here. I think it's not bad, and I love. Hold on, get back in your seat. Hold on. Don't worry, it just got canceled. You won't have to deal with the season 2. But also to then try to redeem myself a little bit, I love Cowboy Bebop, the animation, one of my favorite animes. So when I went into watching it, I was like, what the hell? But this is all to say Spike's character. Spike has, he has that sordid past. And I love when a character that kind of has that sort of flair and panache has also this thing that is haunting them, that they have to deal with, but they're, again, keeping the lid on it. You know, they're not letting it out. I love the sort of like the nature of a character who has a lot of subtextual secrets. Or I like to find that, because then as I think about that as it pertains to a character like Goku, he seems very blunt, and like someone who wears his heart on his sleeve in a way. Not that he's like emotionally vulnerable, but he doesn't mince words. But a father that doesn't believe in him, a promise that he made to his mother, and needing to look out for his siblings and protect the weaker folks, like, that's something he doesn't divulge that vulnerability easily. And I like finding that in characters, and I think that stories that really pay attention to those things and function around those things, secret struggles that we have, and then how those kind of get resolved and how any given character deals with them, I love that sort of stuff. Yeah, I think it's just, woof, chef's kiss. Maybe not the live action, but chef's I want you to stay here for the entire panel. We can talk about something else. I thought I saw a couple other questions that were floating around up here. Right up here.
Between Goku and Seta, who do you think had the best memes?
Seta. I have to go with Seta. Seta has the best memes. I got in trouble for Seta memes. I did, a little bit, but I love Seta's memes. I also love that Seta, in a way, like kind of, did anyone play Fire Emblem as well? Okay, we got Fire Emblem fans? Fantastic, yes! I'm a big Fire, I loved being on that game. I like that, oh, Jesus. Alright. I like that Seta, again, character with a lot of secrets. And I also like that folks, that he seems like this, I don't know, I like that the characters spoke to people in this interesting way, and then they did the memes. What I latched onto about the memes was that he was, I'm a big gamer, and I love the idea of like a ridiculous, boring-ass quest giver. Where you're like, I have to go run another errand for you? Thanks, Dad. And someone was just like, well, here's another ridiculous ask from Seta. And I was just like, this is so freaking funny. I love it. And I was like, what out of touch ask can Seta get this time? And I love seeing all those things blow up with like, what stupid quests, or like also that he was kind of out of touch with the kids. Like, he's, hello, fellow students. I'm here to like, I'm here to, I don't know, understand you. So I love that sort of stuff, and I think that the memes just got off and running there, and it was just funny seeing everyone put their own spin on what Seth was just blissfully unaware of, how out of touch he was. So yeah, I love Frank Goku, but for memes, Seth, you better believe it. Does anyone have a favorite? Oh, you have a question right here too. Mm-hmm.
And you made boba, or you tried to make boba.
Oh God. I thought, yes. Well, go on, what's your question? Oh my gosh. So the experience was a lot of fun. I like boba a lot. I think my interest was first piqued. Has anyone ever tried Orbit? Don't. Orbit is terrible, but it got my interest piqued in stuff in drinks. And when I saw boba for the first time, I don't know when I saw it, but I was like enchanted by it. I was like, oh my God, this is stuff I have to chew in a drink. And it seemed really nice. But then when we made it, so we did this challenge lately. A bunch of voice actors got together, and we went to a boba place, Xing Fu Tong, and we all tried to make the best boba drink that we could, and most of us failed terribly. Apparently it's harder than you think to really get the right ratios of sugar and flavor into a boba drink without making it a full disaster. But it was really cool because they cook their tapioca there, so I got to learn how to how to roll the tapioca flour out, how to cook it right there, and it was really nice. But then making it was kind of a disaster. They only gave us 5 minutes or 6 minutes, to make 3 drinks and make them look good and taste good. We were trying to go for like a key lime pie sort of thing, but I blame Sean Chiplock, not on the record, but I blame Sean Chiplock for putting in way too much lime. Actually, no, Sean was like, so we made a key lime pie drink, and he was like, he offered, he was like, if you want it to be sour, you don't have to stir it. Or if you want it to be sweet, you can stir it. And in retrospect, that's a terrible idea. Because none of them, they were all like, oh, we don't have to stir it, and they just took a drink and got only lime juice. And I was like, well, that's not the boba tea we made. That's just lime juice. Stir your boba tea. Yeah, so that was the experience. Kaylee and Jenny Yokobori, Kaylee Nelson, Jenny Yokobori won with a drink called Tsakai. And it was very good. Well, yeah, Phil Reich and Alex Lee had the disaster to be beats that was called the Travis Scott. And it was just everything in a drink. They just put everything. At first we were like, oh my gosh, they have a good system. And then they kept putting things in the drink. And we were like, oh, you had a beautiful house. Why are you burning your beautiful house? There's so many stories on this house, and you started lighting each one on fire in tandem. So yeah, boba tea's hard. But it was a good experience. I learned a lot. I was humbled. Boba tea fans out there? Is boba tea fans okay? Yeah, they're good. If you get a chance to go to Xing Fu Tong, I don't know if they have them, if you get a chance to visit one ever, they just started putting them out in California, but they're pretty awesome. So if you're out in LA, give that a visit.
There's a really, I'm from Charlotte. There's a really good boba place there. It's called Milk Cha-Cha.
Okay.
Cha-cha-cha? Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can
Milk
make
days.
your own boba drink.
Yeah. What's your favorite?
I get a mango swirl one, so it's fresh mango juice, milk, like the boba milk, and then it has like little mango star bobas.
Yeah. Okay, I can get on board with that. I'm a taro person myself. I like taro. Yeah. I didn't know that taro and ube were different, and so I got, that's interesting too on this tangent. I guess ube is the real like meaty purple one, taro is like a lime. I don't think that's true, but but mango sounds good. I like the fruit. I need to do more fruit boba in my life. I'll try to do it. I'm in Charlotte.
Yeah, you have to try it. It's really good, and it's like $5.
Milk cha-cha-cha. Yeah, $5. That sounds about right. Do you have any questions? And we can keep chatting food. Yeah, what's up? Cowboy Bebop? You sure? I can talk all day. You don't want to? Just, okay, we can just pass notes.
On a scale of 1 to 10.
How good was Cowboy Bebop the live action? I'm sorry. I had to.
How much do you hate Goku's father, especially at the start of this new season?
Sorry. How much do I hate his father? You know what? I haven't seen the first episode of this first season, but so I know, slap to the face. This is strike 2. Strike 3, and I guess, let's close the doors so we can't leave. Jeez. Someone, it's funny, someone actually texted me a screen grab, and I was like, oh, that doesn't look good. I was like, that doesn't look like that's going in a positive direction. So I'm gonna say that we're definitely past 5. We're creeping up in the 7s, and I haven't even seen the episode, so, yeah, it's, gosh. It was hard even in recording, and just with his back turned, it's just so impactful. Just even that little bit, he didn't have to say anything, and I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, what? what happened? I personally got mad in the booth. I was like, why'd you give up? Why'd you give up on life? What the hell? So I imagine I'm not gonna like what I see when it comes around. But like, yeah, it was really disappointing, and I think that's hard to like. It's hard to see, especially out of someone that's like he's basically taking up a family business, as it were, and doing a thing, and his father's like, doesn't matter what you do anymore. He's like, I mean, just that is just such a. I hate the idea of like giving up, and I know it's hard. I know like life gets real hard, and we all come across those instances when we want to. I think there's nothing more important than being able to like look that failure in the face and stand up and say like, no, absolutely not. And so when I see his back turns in that when we were recording Mugen Train, I was just like, man, shaking my head. So yeah, I think that I'll let you know. I'll blast out about it at the end of my my Bebop review on my blog spot. So you'll have to read through the whole thing. I'm going to put one of those little spoiler click things on there too, so you can't see my answer until you read everything. You have to agree, I'm not a robot. Alright, final one, we've kicked that horse. What's up? Anyone questions around, please?
Yeah, since coming to conventions has been a newer experience for you, what are some things that surprised you, whether it was a good surprise or a bad surprise about the experience of coming to one of these?
I think the only bad surprise of conventions is that sometimes my flights get canceled. And like yesterday, I had a canceled flight. And that was we just were traveling for like 15, 16 hours yesterday, myself and Abby. We were just in airports, and I was like, come on. So yeah, travel. But no, the cool things that I've found, actually, I love, it's funny, I was thinking to myself the other day, I love the panels, actually. I love just kind of chatting back and forth, because sometimes when we're up signing, I love like meeting people individually, but I also like to like kind of BS for a while and like talk at length, and I like doing that in like a large forum like this, where we can just kind of chat about whatever. So this has always been really fun. Seeing the massive, I knew that there was cosplay at cons, but like just seeing it everywhere at every con, I love that so much. Oh my god, it's amazing. I love seeing all the different costumes. If we can get the Death Knight back in here, yeah, thank you. Sorry, I was crossing the wires on my properties. But yeah, seeing all that stuff is fantastic. I'm in Genshin Impact, and I remember the first con that I went to back was a WeebCon in Dallas, Texas, and seeing there was so much Genshin Impact cosplay, so much love for that game, and I also played the living crap out of that game, so I was geeking out, and I was like, oh my gosh. I even like we were at the table and I was like, Clee! It's Clee! Come over here! But I also see it for Fire Emblem too, right? I mean, like seeing the cosplay, I just love it. So yeah, those are some of the things that some of my faves. Yeah, in the orange.
So I just watched Mugen Train last night.
Is it your first time seeing it?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
I was wondering, do you often get to do you enjoy when you get to voice characters in shows that you've done either with games or other shows before, or are you just it's just
So in the recording process, it is usually just, for dub, it's single session all the time. It's only one of us in the booth. That's because of the technical aspect of dubbing. we're only doing one microphone, they have to match all the technicals to it. On original animation, we can do ensemble records depending on availability, and I've done that before. I love it, I love working off of people. Motion capture as well, which I just started working on a mocap job. We can work alongside, and we're physically there with everybody, and I love that even more because it's like being in theater. Like, mocap is definitely doing like black box theater, and I love it so much. So, yes, I love working off of my fellow actors whenever I can. I think it brings so much more energy to it. Fun thing, I watched Mugen Train again pretty recently, and I actually just texted Lucian Dodge because he crushes it. He's awesome. And I love working with Lucian and working off of him. And he got back to me and he was like, I wish that I could have like had your energy, your specific energy in there when I was doing it with the different lines, because we don't always get, depending on when we record, we don't always have each other's lines rolled in. So I believe that he laid down before I did. So I would have gotten to hear his performance, but he didn't get to hear mine. So we at least have a sense of what someone else is doing. We also know each other pretty well, so we know what kind of energy each other is bringing, because the more you work in the industry, the more you meet people, and you get to kind of just go in there and say, yeah. I mean, I really feel it. I love working with Allegra. If you know Allegra Clark, she was Beto in Genshin, and she does a lot of cool other characters, and I love working with her. I think she just brings so much to the table. So yeah, I love that. I can't wait for the day when they do ensemble dubbing. That would be fantastic. Yeah. Any other questions? Yes, right over here.
So, we are not only Demon Slayer fans, but we have been playing Genshin every day for the past like 3 months. And I'm not like over-exaggerating.
Yes. You get your Battle Pass?
Yes.
Okay, good. Battle Pass is like, that is bang for the buck right there.
So I was wondering, could you give us a live poem from your character?
Yeah. Do you want an actual Kazuha poem, or do you want me to just do something random?
I guess do like an actual one.
Actual one?
To see in person.
Yeah, let's see here. I mean, his happy birthday poem, sorry, Kazuha is definitely like a character that is not Rengoku.
Right.
Very, very chilled out. I had to turn my microphone way up when I was playing Kazuha because I generally don't speak that lightly.
Right.
Let's see here. Sun and moon rejoice. Birds of dawn sing songs anew. Far from home with you. Happy birthday.
Cool.
That's his birthday. He's very chilled out. He's very like kind of and even so, he might have even been a bit low in that. It's weird. He had Chris, our director, he was like higher pitch, higher, lighter. And I was really nervous with Kazuha when I started playing him because I was like, is this reading? I was like, am I doing this right? Because I'm generally a bit more of a scattered, intense person. So to inhabit that sort of chill vibe was different for me, and I kind of doubted it at first. But I was like, I had to keep being like, drop your shoulders down, just kind of enjoy the breeze, just enjoy the sweetness. Just kind of see where nature takes you. And I had to channel my inner Koi Dao. Does anyone know Koi? Okay, you know Koi. When I started recording for Kazuha, they were like, yeah, he's kind of like Albedo, but happier. And I was like, okay, cool. But then, especially when I got into like reading haikus and he talks in such a poetic fashion, we came across a couple lines in there where some lines that started where they're like, Chris stopped me, he's like, is this rhyme gonna sound weird to anyone else? And we were like, no, that's his thing. He's a poet. He rhymes. And so but at first, because sometimes we try to avoid that sort of stuff, because we're like, That's a poetry thing, it rhymes, it seems kind of awkward, it's kind of like, it stands out to us when something rhymes. But when it's his character, when it inhabits his thing, you're like, oh, this is this guy. He would do this.
Yeah.
And that's another big thing about characters too, and like adapting. Would this character say this? And each person has their own unique flair and their way to say things, so, yeah. Thanks for that. No, thank you. I love Kazuha. I need more of that sort of relaxation. I think I found the problem. It's the connection. All right, well, anyways, I need more of that in my life sometime. Yeah, thanks. Good questions all around? Anyone? Yeah?
Because you said you're okay with food questions.
Yeah.
Thumbs up or thumbs down? Pineapple on pizza.
All right, thank you. No. Oh God, I'm gonna lose a lot of friends.
But you might gain.
You might gain some.
I might. Pineapple on pizza.
I'm not answering.
Don't tell me that. I'm looking at you right back there, and I'm like, strike three. What's strike three?
Judgmental stare.
No.
Oh.
No. No, hold on. I have two more with you. I'm not particular to it. No, I mean, I do enjoy the sweet and the savory mixed together in some fashions. But if I have like a pepperoni pizza going on, I'm putting banana peppers on that thing before I'm putting pineapple. I'm putting like something hot and spicy on it, something tangy. So I'm glad you're still here. So did this room come pretty hard down on no? Was that the general? Is anyone else a fan of pineapple? You're a fan. Fan of pineapple on pizza? Okay. You've got good company. You got folks who enjoy it.
I like it if you have barbecue sauce instead of tomato sauce.
Oh, barbecue! Yeah, like a barbecue chicken pizza, or something like that, or just barbecue sauce in general. Yeah, I can get down with that. It's good. I do love barbecue. I imagine that there's a lot of good stuff. Yeah, you had a question.
What is your favorite type of barbecue?
Favorite type of barbecue? Ooh, pulled pork. I like pulled pork a lot. And I like, honestly though, I like sauce. Sauce. Didn't catch that. Sauce. I like sauce. So I kind of like all sauces. I like this, they have like Carolina mustard sauce at a place I go to, and I like, mustard sauces. It's underrated. I feel like a lot of people go for like the tomato-based sauces, and I like them. I dig them, but I think mustard needs a little bit more of the spotlight from time to time, and I can get down with that. How about you? What's yours?
Texas barbecue.
Texas barbecue, all right. Yeah. Is there a particular, because Texas has like a dry rub, right? They do generally like a dry salt and pepper rub.
Yeah, smoked brisket.
Yeah, brisket. Oh, yeah, brisket would be next in line. Pulled pork I really like, but brisket is like neck and neck with it. So like, if I'm assembling a plate, those are the two things I like to have on it. Ribs are great, but there's so much work. It's like a crab leg. Unless what?
Unless it's cooked just right. You want one place where it just falls.
Right, where it falls off. At that point, I'd be like, just fall it off onto my plate and leave the bones somewhere else, please. I don't have to deal with them. What am I going to do with this? Build a fort? I'm going to start Mad Max on my plate. Little Fury Road going on there. Build a vehicle. Barbecue, man. Jeez. Bones. Oh, bones are fine. It's probably like, does anyone do marrow? Does anyone do that? Okay, good, I'm glad. I didn't want to have to boot anyone out of this room. No, I understand that that's like a thing you could do, and I don't know if that, we never think to do it because we're like, oh, look, there's meat right here. Why would I go into the bone? The meat's on the outside. Marrow, delicacy. All right. Anyone got any other favorite foods? You want to talk more food? Animals? We can switch it. Yeah, you're going to do it.
Have you been recommended anywhere to eat here in Before? Because there's a lot of different places here.
I have not been recommended yet. Mitch,
We
you
have
got
a list. We have a list.
Okay, they got a list, but I want to see. Can we add to the list? Okay.
We've already recorded the list. A place that we usually go every year to come here will be Bennett's Barbecue on the topic of barbecue.
Is this a Genshin place? Bennett's Barbecue. If it's not, they're missing an opportunity right now. It also kind of Bennett's Flame Broiled Barbecue, where the staff constantly gets injured. Local goat? Okay. Everyone's pointing to you. Local goat, yes!
It's all locally sourced, like it's grown and it's made in the area around it.
I'm assuming I can get goat there?
I don't know. They might have goat there.
The name is Local Goat. I can't get goat at Local Goat. Do they mean local greatest of all time? Okay, good. If so, that's fine.
Ribs are phenomenal.
Okay. The rib, but then I gotta work for them. Okay, I don't. I just have to shake my plate. And then everything's fine. Put them in the fry baskets.
Take your fork and just
Do we have, I think, do we got this place till 4? We got some time. We got a couple more questions. Yeah, let's do time.
6 more minutes.
Yep.
How many times do you catch yourself doing the tasty line? And do the tasty line.
Tasty. Oh my gosh, I've done it. I've said that word more than any other word in my life. Sometimes it's like, wake up, what do you want? Tasty, a lot. I like it. I catch myself a lot. In the back!
What was your favorite line for Rengoku?
Ooh, my favorite line for Rengoku. It's my problem. I really like when he says the flow of time waits for no one during that speech. I like that sentiment because again it gets in line with that sort of like pick yourself up, get going, like clock ain't gonna wait for you. Time keeps ticking, right? Like life keeps going on, and it's a hard thing to hear, especially for the kids to hear in that moment. But like I love that. I love that it's again that bluntness. And he doesn't say it like a drill sergeant. You know, he doesn't say it like he's commanding you. He just says it like, this is it. This is a fact. You know, get on board. And in like a happy way, not as like a challenge. He's like, don't worry about it. You know, pick yourself up. You know, dry your eyes. Like, keep marching forward, because that's what we do. And he said, you know, saying it with that smile, with all of his heart in it. It's great. I love that line. Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah. Chef's the keys. Yeah, I see.
With Tanjiro being your favorite character, as you said before, did that impact the way you did the lines and you can train to him?
Oh gosh, that's a great question actually. Right, is playing favorites. Where he's like Tanjiro. Yeah, young Commodore is like, oh, boy in yellow, boar-headed boy, the crap you are. In a way, I don't know if my personal affection, I guess kind of, because he takes a shine to him. in a way. Like he takes a shine. I think Goku sees what a lot of us in the audience see in Tanjiro. What everyone sees, that this guy he's special. He's a kid who he does have what it takes. And he has what it takes to meet the challenge. I think it's funny that he says beforehand that he's like, oh, your sword's black. He's like, hey, no one's ever done that with a black sword. No one's ever become a Hashira. Good luck, kid. But by the end of it, he's like, you do have, like, when he's teaching him the focus breathing too. I love that moment, and he's really like, he's being that big brother to him. And yeah, I think with Tanjiro being my favorite, like, I guess it did work its way in there. It kind of lines up nicely. It's cool when it does that, when sort of an emotion or something that you're already feeling dovetails into what you're doing with the character, and I'm like, I don't have to work against this. I can just lean into it. I can lean into, like, just being like, I think you're going places, and I think you're a good kid, and I just want to do my best to send you in the right direction when I got the time to do it. So yeah, it did have a nice impact on that. I think we got time for one more before we wrap up. Right up here, yes.
So, I saw that you voiced in Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yes.
So, how did you feel that you got to be part of something that's been around for so long?
Oh God, I was geeking out about that so much. The auditions were coming in, and I auditioned for a number of characters in it, and I was losing it because I grew up. I played a lot of Final Fantasy. I played Final Fantasy 1, like the original Nintendo. I played a lot of the Game Boy versions. And then when I got back into it, I played the 7. And 7 was such a wonderful story. And so when that came through, I was just like, it was one of those auditions where I'm like, oh, please, 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 please. I really want to and need to be a part of it. And so when I finally got the call that I was like, oh my God, this is like my freaking child. I even said it as we're going into the session. And they're like, yep, we hear it from almost everyone. Because we're all that age. Everyone who came in was like, I grew up on this game. You don't understand. And they're like, we do. There's a line outside. It was super fun. And getting to interact with like Cloud and Barrett and Tifa and Aerith, like, I don't know, I'm getting to see it done up, because the thing about the remake too is that as I was playing the first edition, and I think this probably goes for everybody, I'm just going to say unequivocally that this is what everyone thinks. That's how we were all imagining it. As we were playing it, everything was like a little block polygon and like a weird triangle hair, and we were like, no, this looks so good. And if we could have only seen what the remake looks like when we were playing it originally, I think we would have an entire generation would have exploded, like just weirdly combined in a minute, right? Yeah, so when I'm looking at because they were playing some of the mock-ups, some of the unfinished animation as we're voicing it, and I was just like, I gotta sit down. This is exactly how I imagined it, and I can't believe I'm here. So yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I felt very happy to be a part of that. I think Leslie's got a cool story. I hope we see more of him, because I think he's a cool guy. Although I will say that one of the first lines I recorded, Leslie is sitting up there, and he's like, this is a place for pretty boys. And I'm like, what? You says the prettiest person on the block. He's like admonishing Cloud for being a pretty boy, and meanwhile he is the fanciest K-pop star out there. And I was like, God bless it. God bless video games. And that, I think that's all the time we got. Thank you so much. This has been so much fun chatting with y'all. We'll be over in the vendor hall signing, and then I got a signing at 5 o'clock today, so stop by and say hi. And thanks so much for your questions. I'll see you around. Enjoy the con.